You are not stuck because you are incapable. You are stuck because you are comfortable. Comfort is the most dangerous place a human can live. It feels safe, but it slowly kills ambition. It makes average feel acceptable. It convinces you that tomorrow is guaranteed. Nothing powerful is built in comfort. Nothing exceptional is born there. And if you stay where you are, you will become exactly who your habits demand. This audiobook is not motivation. It is a warning. Because your comfort zone is not protecting you. It is destroying you. Chapter 1. Comfort is not safety. It is sedation. Comfort doesn't attack. It anesthetizes. That's the key. It doesn't break your door down. It doesn't announce itself as danger. It puts you to sleep while your life slowly slips out of your control. Most people think they want safety. What they really want is comfort. And those two things are not the same. Safety allows growth. Comfort prevents it. You have a choice. Comfort numbs urgency. Urgency is what forces change. When urgency disappears, effort disappears with it. You stop asking hard questions. You stop pushing limits. You stop demanding more from yourself. Not because you can't, but because nothing is forcing you to. Comfort doesn't say, quit. It says, relax. And you listen. Comfort doesn't attack, it anesthetizes. Look around. Most people didn't fail. They settled. They stayed in jobs they outgrew years ago. They stayed in routines that no longer challenged them. They stayed the same person while time kept moving. They didn't crash. They coasted. That's more dangerous. Because failure wakes you up. Comfort puts you to sleep. You have a choice. Think about how comfort works in real life. You wake up at the same time. You follow the same routine. You complain about the same problems. You tell yourself the same stories. It's not that bad. I'll change later. At least it's stable. Stability becomes the excuse. Routine becomes the cage. And ambition quietly suffocates. That's the key. Comfort replaces urgency with routine. Routine feels productive. It feels responsible. But if that routine doesn't demand growth, it's just repetition. Repetition without challenge is stagnation. Comfort doesn't feel like stagnation. It feels like control. But control over what? A life that no longer moves forward? You have a choice. Let's be clear about something important. This is not about quitting everything. This is not about chaos. This is not about reckless decisions. It's not about fear. It's about discipline. Safety means you can grow without destroying your life. Comfort means you don't grow at all. Safety stretches you. Comfort shrinks you. That's the key. Look at the people who stayed comfortable too long. They didn't wake up one day broken. They woke up one day disappointed. Disappointed in themselves. Disappointed in their courage. Disappointed that they knew better and still didn't act. Comfort always delays consequences, but it never removes them. Comfort doesn't attack, it anesthetizes. Your mind loves comfort because comfort feels predictable. Predictability feels like control. Control feels safe. But growth is unpredictable. Growth is uncomfortable. Growth threatens your identity. So your mind resists it. Not because you are weak, but because your brain is designed to conserve energy, not fulfill potential. That's the key. You don't need their permission to want more. You don't need approval to outgrow your environment. You don't need validation to change. Comfort will try to convince you otherwise. It will say, be grateful. It will say, others have it worse. It will say, don't rock the boat. That's how sedation works. You stay still. You stay quiet. You stay small. You have a choice. Comfort also hides behind responsibility. I can't risk it right now. I have obligations. I'll do it when things calm down. Things don't calm down. You just get older. Responsibility without ambition becomes a prison. Discipline without growth becomes punishment. It's not about irresponsibility. It's about intentional discomfort. That's the key. Ask yourself this honestly. When was the last time you felt stretched? When was the last time you did something that made you nervous but proud? When was the last time you chose effort over ease? If the answer is, I don't remember, you are not safe. You are sedated. Comfort doesn't attack, it anesthetizes. Here's the dangerous part. Comfort feels earned. You tell yourself, I worked hard. I deserve this. And maybe you did. But comfort doesn't know when to leave. It will stay forever if you let it. Rest is recovery. Comfort is residence. Recovery prepares you to return to battle. Residence convinces you the battle is over. You have a choice. Let's talk behavior. If you want to break sedation, you don't start with motivation. You start with disruption. Change something small, but uncomfortable. Wake up earlier than you want to. Do the task you've been avoiding first. Have the conversation you've been postponing. Not because it feels good, but because it builds awareness. Discomfort wakes you up. Comfort puts you back to sleep. That's the key. You don't need massive change today. You need friction. Friction against routine. Friction against ease. Friction against automatic living. Even small resistance reminds your mind that you are in control. Not your habits. Not your comfort. You. You have a choice. This chapter is not telling you to panic. It's telling you to notice. Notice where you've become too comfortable. Notice where ambition has gone quiet. Notice where routine has replaced intention. Awareness breaks sedation. Once you see comfort for what it is, you can't unsee it. Comfort doesn't attack, it anesthetizes. And here's the truth most people avoid. If your life feels numb, if your days feel repetitive, if your potential feels distant, it's not because you lack talent. It's not because you lack opportunity. It's because comfort has been driving. That's the key. You don't escape comfort with a dramatic decision. You escape it with daily, intentional discomfort. And that starts with understanding this. Safety supports growth. Comfort kills it. Once you accept that, you stop chasing ease and start choosing effort. You wake up. You've now seen the first enemy clearly. Comfort is not protecting you. It is sedating you. But sedation only works if nothing demands more from you. So the next question becomes critical. What happens when nothing in your life requires growth? You mastered the danger of comfort. Now let's talk about what ambition needs to survive. Chapter 2. Ambition dies when nothing demands more from you. Ambition is not permanent. That's the first truth you need to accept. Ambition is not something you have. It is something that is provoked. And when nothing in your life demands more from you, ambition doesn't stay quiet. It dies. That's the key. Most people believe ambition disappears because of age, failure, or bad luck. That's not true. Ambition disappears when pressure disappears. Pressure to improve. Pressure to adapt. Pressure to rise. Remove pressure, and ambition fades naturally. You have a choice. Think about it. When life pushes you, you push back. When life relaxes, you relax harder. When expectations are high, you rise. When expectations are low, you sink. Not because you are weak, but because human behavior responds to demand. Ambition is an environmental response. That's the key. Look at people who were once driven. They had goals. They had energy. They had fire. Then life stabilized. The job became familiar. The routine became predictable. The challenge disappeared. And slowly, ambition stopped showing up. Not because they failed, but because nothing required them to grow. You have a choice. Ambition needs resistance. Resistance sharpens focus. Resistance creates urgency. Resistance forces decisions. Comfort removes resistance. When there is no resistance, effort feels optional, progress feels unnecessary, growth feels inconvenient, and ambition suffocates inconvenience. That's the key. This is why people perform better under deadlines. Why pressure creates results. Why accountability changes behavior. Not because pressure is pleasant, but because pressure demands action. Ambition only wakes up when action is required. If your life does not demand more from you, you will never demand more from yourself. You have a choice. Let's talk about the lie people tell themselves. I'm just taking a break. I'll get serious later. I'm waiting for the right time. Later becomes longer. Breaks become permanent. Waiting becomes a lifestyle. Ambition doesn't survive waiting. That's the key. Here's the hard truth. If nothing in your life is challenging you right now, you are not in a stable phase. You are in a declining one. Growth requires demand. Maintenance is not neutral. It is regression in disguise. You don't stay the same. You either grow or decay. You have a choice. This is why people who escape difficulty often lose direction. When survival is no longer a concern, purpose becomes optional. And when purpose is optional, ambition disappears. Ambition thrives when there is something at stake. That's the key. Look at athletes. The moment competition disappears, performance drops. Look at students. The moment expectations drop, effort disappears. Look at professionals. The moment accountability fades, discipline weakens. This isn't character failure. It's human nature. Remove demand, and ambition collapses. You have a choice. Ambition also dies when goals are too vague. I want more. I want better. I want success. Those aren't demands. Those are wishes. Ambition responds to specific requirements. Clear targets. Clear consequences. Clear deadlines. Without clarity, Ambition has nothing to attach to. That's the key. You don't need motivation. You need requirements. Requirements force preparation. Requirements force action. Requirements force growth. Motivation waits for feeling. Requirements don't care how you feel. It's not about emotion. It's about discipline. You have a choice. Ask yourself this question honestly. What in your life requires excellence from you right now? Not encourages it. Not suggests it. Requires it. If the answer is nothing, ambition has no reason to exist. That's the key. This is why self-imposed pressure matters. If life won't demand more from you, you must demand more from yourself. Raise your standards. Create deadlines. Increase difficulty on purpose. Not because you enjoy stress, but because ambition needs friction. You have a choice. Let's make this practical. If your days feel easy, you are underdemanded. If your routines feel comfortable, you are underchallenged. If your goals don't scare you, they are too small. Ambition responds to stretch. Stretch creates growth. Growth creates confidence. Confidence fuels ambition. That's the key. You don't need to overhaul your life overnight. You need to raise demand somewhere. Demand better focus. Demand better effort. Demand better consistency. Make something in your life non-negotiable. Non-negotiables wake ambition up. You have a choice. Understand this clearly. Ambition is not lost. It is dormant. It is waiting for pressure, waiting for challenge, waiting for demand. The moment you raise the standard, ambition returns. That's the key. But if you stay where nothing challenges you, ambition will continue to fade. And eventually, you won't miss it anymore. That's the danger. Because when ambition dies quietly, regret gets loud later. You have a choice. This chapter leaves you with a responsibility. If nothing in your life demands more from you, you must create demand. No one is coming to raise your standards. No one is coming to pressure you into growth. That is your job. Comfort sedated you. Lack of demand killed ambition. But there is something even more dangerous than low demand. Something that steals your time before you realize it's gone. You've seen how ambition dies. Now it's time to understand what you're really spending every day without noticing. Chapter 3. You don't avoid discomfort. You avoid who you'd have to become. Most people think they avoid discomfort because it's painful. That's not true. Discomfort is temporary. What you are really avoiding is change. Because change demands something far more uncomfortable than effort. It demands that you become someone else. That's the key. You don't fear hard work. You fear the identity shift that comes with it. The moment you commit fully, excuses die. The moment you try seriously, self-deception ends. The moment you push, you lose the safety of pretending. And pretending feels comfortable. You have a choice. Discomfort exposes you. It exposes what you don't know. It exposes where you are weak. It exposes who you really are without your stories. That exposure is what you avoid. Not the work. Not the effort. The truth. That's the key. Think about it. If you really tried, failure would be real. If you really committed, results would be undeniable. If you really showed up, there would be no excuses left. Avoiding discomfort keeps possibility alive. Trying kills fantasy. And most people protect fantasy more than potential. You have a choice. This is why people stay almost serious, almost disciplined, almost focused, almost committed, almost trying, almost gives you an escape, almost lets you blame circumstances, almost protects your ego, but almost never changes your life. That's the key. Discomfort demands a new identity. The disciplined version of you. The consistent version of you. The accountable version of you. That version doesn't negotiate. That version doesn't wait for motivation. That version doesn't hide behind mood. And becoming that version means letting go of who you are now. You have a choice. Comfort allows you to stay familiar. Same habits. Same excuses. Same self-image. Discomfort demands growth, and growth demands loss. Loss of laziness. Loss of victimhood. Loss of comfortable narratives. That loss feels like death to the ego. That's the key. This is why change feels threatening. Not because it's impossible, but because it destroys the identity you've been protecting. You can't become disciplined and keep your old habits. You can't become focused and keep your old distractions. You can't become confident and keep your old avoidance. Something has to go. You have a choice. People don't sabotage themselves consciously. They protect who they believe they are. I'm just not a morning person. I'm bad at consistency. I've always been like this. Those aren't facts. Those are identities. Discomfort challenges identity. So identity resists. That's the key. You don't need their permission to change. You don't need approval to outgrow your past. You don't need validation to become more disciplined. But your current identity will fight back. It will remind you of who you used to be. It will replay old failures. It will whisper doubt. That's how identity protects itself. You have a choice. Here's the truth most people avoid. If you stay the same person, you will get the same results. Change does not negotiate with comfort. It demands surrender. Not surrender to fear. Surrender of the old self. That's the key. Let's make this practical. Every time you avoid something hard, ask yourself, what version of me would this require? Not what task. Not what effort. What identity? Discomfort isn't about the action. It's about the person you'd have to become to sustain it. You have a choice. When you avoid the gym, you avoid becoming disciplined. When you avoid the conversation, you avoid becoming assertive. When you avoid the work, you avoid becoming accountable. Discomfort points directly to the version of you that your life needs next. That's the key. This is why discomfort is a compass. It shows you exactly where growth is required. If something scares you consistently, it's not random. It's calling you forward. Comfort keeps you familiar. Discomfort moves you forward. You have a choice. Identity change feels unstable. The old you feels safe because it's known. The new you feels uncertain because it's untested. But uncertainty is the price of growth. Stability without progress is decay. That's the key. You don't become someone new overnight. You become them through repeated behavior. Small actions. Daily discipline. Consistent discomfort. Identity follows action, not the other way around. You have a choice. Understand this clearly. You are not avoiding discomfort. You are avoiding the responsibility of becoming more. And that responsibility doesn't go away. It waits until life forces change on you, or you choose it yourself. That's the key. Comfort let you stay who you were. Lack of demand killed ambition. And now you see the real enemy. The old identity you refuse to outgrow. But identity isn't changed by thinking. It's changed by action. And action starts with habits. You've seen why you resist change. Now it's time to confront what comfort builds every day without your permission. Chapter 4. Comfort creates weak daily habits. Comfort doesn't ruin your life in one decision. It ruins it through daily habits. That's the key. Small choices. Repeated often. Done without thought. That's how comfort wins. You have a choice. Most people look for a single mistake. A big failure. A dramatic moment where everything went wrong. That's not how it happens. It happens quietly. You hit snooze instead of getting up. You delay the hard task until later. You choose distraction over focus. Nothing feels dangerous. Everything feels justified. And slowly, weakness becomes routine. Comfort doesn't attack, it anesthetizes. Habits are the language of comfort. Comfort speaks through repetition, through convenience, through ease. Every comfortable habit whispers the same message: do less. Expect less. Become less. Not today, not obviously, but eventually. That's the key. Weak habits don't feel weak while you're doing them. They feel normal. They feel earned. They feel harmless. Scrolling to relax. Skipping effort because you're tired. Postponing progress because tomorrow is better. But habits don't care about your intentions. They only care about frequency. What you repeat, you become. You have a choice. Comfort trains you to avoid resistance. You start choosing the path with the least friction, the least effort, the least discomfort. Over time, your tolerance for difficulty drops. Hard work feels extreme. Focus feels exhausting. Discipline feels unfair. Not because it is, but because comfort lowered your threshold. That's the key. Let's talk about procrastination. Procrastination is not laziness. It's a habit of comfort. You delay not because you can't act, but because acting feels uncomfortable now. And comfort teaches you to escape discomfort instead of facing it. Every delay strengthens the habit. Every excuse reinforces the pattern. Soon, avoiding effort becomes automatic. You have a choice. Comfort also disguises itself as self-care. Rest is necessary. Recovery is important. But comfort abuses those ideas. It turns rest into avoidance. Recovery into indulgence. Balance into stagnation. Real recovery prepares you to return stronger. Comfort convinces you to stay soft. That's the key. Weak habits don't destroy ambition directly. They erode it slowly. You stop setting challenging goals. You stop holding yourself accountable. You stop expecting excellence. Not because you don't care, but because comfort made effort optional. Optional effort never survives long. You have a choice. Look at your day, not your goals, not your intentions. Your day. Your habits reveal your true priorities. What you do when no one is watching. What you choose when nothing is urgent. What you repeat when it feels optional. That's who you are becoming. That's the key. Comfort also shortens your attention span. Constant stimulation, constant entertainment, constant escape. Your mind gets used to easy dopamine. Then focus feels painful. Silence feels uncomfortable. Depth feels boring. Weak habits weaken your ability to stay present. And without presence, there is no progress. You have a choice. Here's the hard truth. You don't rise to the level of your goals. You fall to the level of your habits. And comfort builds habits that pull you down quietly. That's the key. This is why people say, I don't know where my time went. Time didn't disappear. It was spent on comfort. Minutes of avoidance. Hours of distraction. Days of delay. Comfort steals time in small amounts so you don't notice until it's gone. You have a choice. Let's make this practical. If you want to break weak habits, you don't start with motivation. You start with friction. Make comfort harder. Remove distractions. Set non-negotiable routines. Decide in advance, not in the moment. Habits change when choices disappear. That's the key. You don't need perfect discipline. You need intentional discomfort. One habit at a time. Wake up when you don't want to. Start the task you're avoiding. Finish what you usually abandon. Small actions. Done daily. Without negotiation. You have a choice. Comfort thrives on negotiation. I'll do it later. Just this once. I deserve this. Discipline ends negotiation. This is what I do. This is who I am. This is non-negotiable. That identity kills weak habits. That's the key. Understand this clearly. Strong people are not born disciplined. They are trained by habits that demand effort. Weak habits create weak responses. Strong habits create strong behavior. And habits don't care how you feel. They care what you repeat. You have a choice. Every weak habit is a vote for the life you don't want. Every disciplined habit is a vote for the person you're becoming. Votes add up. Not overnight, but inevitably. Comfort creates habits that pull you backward. Discomfort creates habits that push you forward. That's the key. This chapter is not about guilt. It's about responsibility. You built your habits. You can rebuild them. But you must see comfort clearly. Not as relief. Not as reward. As a force that quietly shapes who you become. You have a choice. Comfort sedated you. Lack of demand killed ambition. Identity resisted change. And now you see the mechanism. Habits. Habits are where comfort hides and multiplies. But habits can be rewritten. And rewriting habits requires something comfort hates. Consistency. You've seen how comfort weakens you daily. Now it's time to understand what happens when discipline disappears completely. Chapter 5. Discipline disappears where comfort is in charge. Discipline does not vanish overnight. It erodes. That's the key. It fades slowly, quietly, and politely, until one day you realize you no longer do what you say you will do. Not because you can't, but because comfort has taken control. You have a choice. Discipline and comfort cannot lead at the same time. One gives orders. The other negotiates. And negotiation is where discipline goes to die. Comfort always says, just this once. Discipline says, non-negotiable. That's the difference. Most people think they lack discipline. They don't. They lack structure. They live in a system where comfort decides what to do today, when to stop, when to rest, when to quit. Comfort becomes the authority. That's the key. Discipline requires one thing above all else: certainty. Certainty about what gets done. Certainty about when it gets done. Certainty regardless of mood. Comfort destroys certainty. It replaces it with emotion. How do I feel today? Do I have energy? Am I in the mood? Discipline does not survive emotional leadership. You have a choice. Look at how discipline disappears in real life. You miss one workout. You delay one task. You break one promise to yourself. Nothing collapses immediately, so you repeat it. Soon, discipline becomes optional. Optional becomes occasional. Occasional becomes never. Comfort doesn't attack, it anesthetizes. That's the key. Discipline is built on repetition without debate. The moment you start debating with yourself, discipline is already weakening. Comfort loves debate. You deserve a break. You worked hard. You'll make it up later. Later never comes. You have a choice. This is why motivation is unreliable. Motivation depends on feeling. Discipline depends on decision. Motivation asks, do I want to? Discipline states, this is what happens. Comfort feeds on motivation. Discipline ignores it. That's the key. When comfort is in charge, routines collapse. Sleep becomes inconsistent. Focus becomes fragmented. Effort becomes selective. You only do what feels manageable. But discipline requires doing what feels inconvenient. Every time. You have a choice. Discipline is uncomfortable by nature. It demands consistency when excitement fades. It demands effort when progress is slow. It demands commitment when results are invisible. Comfort avoids all of that. Comfort says, wait until it feels right. It never does. That's the key. Let's talk about self-trust. Self-trust is built by discipline. It is destroyed by comfort. Every time you don't follow through, you teach yourself not to believe your own words. Eventually, you stop making promises to yourself at all. Not consciously, subconsciously. And that's when ambition disappears completely. You have a choice. People with strong discipline don't feel stronger. They operate under rules. Rules remove choice. Rules remove emotion. Rules remove comfort's influence. This is what I do. This is when I do it. No exceptions. That's the key. Comfort hates rules. Rules feel restrictive. Rules feel boring. Rules feel harsh. But rules create freedom. Freedom from hesitation. Freedom from overthinking. Freedom from inconsistency. Discipline is not oppression. It's liberation from comfort. You have a choice. Here's a hard truth. If your discipline depends on motivation, you don't have discipline. If it depends on mood, you don't have discipline. If it depends on convenience, you don't have discipline. Discipline works when nothing works. That's the key. Look at where your discipline has weakened. Where do you negotiate most? Where do you make exceptions? Where do you delay? That's where comfort has authority. And authority must be taken back, not requested. You have a choice. Let's make this practical. If you want discipline to return, you must remove decisions. Set fixed times. Set fixed actions. Set fixed rules. When it's time, you act. No thinking. No debate. Thinking is where comfort wins. That's the key. Start small but absolute. One rule you do not break. Wake up time. Workout time. Work block. Reading block. One thing done daily, no matter what. Discipline grows from proof. You prove it to yourself first. You have a choice. Comfort will fight back. It will argue. It will rationalize. It will remind you of your past failures. Ignore it. Comfort is not logic. It's resistance in disguise. Discipline does not respond to resistance. It moves through it. That's the key. Understand this clearly. Discipline is not something you summon. It is something you install. Installed through rules. Maintained through repetition. Protected by standards. Comfort removes standards. Discipline enforces them. You have a choice. This chapter is not asking you to be extreme. It's asking you to be consistent. Consistency outperforms intensity. Always. One disciplined action repeated daily will outperform bursts of motivation every time. Comfort thrives on inconsistency. Discipline destroys it. That's the key. Discipline disappeared because comfort was allowed to lead. But leadership can change. The moment you stop negotiating, discipline returns. And with discipline comes something comfort can never give you. Confidence. You've seen how discipline collapses under comfort. Now it's time to understand what discipline actually builds. Because discipline doesn't just control behavior. It builds identity. Chapter 6. Confidence is built by doing what's uncomfortable. Confidence is not born. It is earned. It is forged. Not in easy moments. Not in safe zones. Not in comfort. Confidence grows when you do what you don't want to do. When you act despite fear, doubt, or hesitation. When you choose effort over ease every single day. That's the key. You have a choice. Most people confuse confidence with feeling ready. That's a lie. Confidence does not appear when conditions are perfect. It appears when you take action anyway. When you face uncertainty and you move forward regardless. You have a choice. Think about it. Every time you avoided discomfort, you reinforced doubt. You reinforced hesitation. You reinforced weakness. Every skipped task. Every delayed conversation. Every easy decision you took over a hard one. All chipped away at your self-respect. Confidence is nothing more than proof. Proof you can do what you thought you couldn't. And proof is built in uncomfortable moments. Discomfort is your teacher. Resistance is your coach. Fear is your trainer. They demand that you grow. They demand that you stretch. They demand that you become a person capable of more than you thought possible. Comfort avoids all of this. Comfort whispers, "You're fine where you are." And you believe it. You have a choice. Here's how it works in practice. You want to speak with authority. You must speak when it's uncomfortable. You want discipline. You must act when motivation is gone. You want respect. You must enforce your boundaries even when it feels awkward. Every uncomfortable action is a vote for the person you are becoming. Every vote builds confidence. Every vote proves to yourself that you are capable. That's the key. Most people underestimate the power of repetition. Confidence is not a sudden explosion. It is accumulation. Small, daily wins against comfort. Small actions repeated until resistance feels natural. You don't feel confident because you win once. You feel confident because you win consistently, even when it hurts. You have a choice. Discomfort also exposes weakness. And weakness is valuable because it identifies what you must improve. When you avoid discomfort, you remain blind. You avoid feedback. You avoid growth. You avoid progress. Every time you face discomfort, you learn. You adjust. You improve. You reinforce your capabilities. Confidence is not emotion. It is evidence. That's the key. Fear is the mirror of potential. The moment fear appears, you know you are stepping into growth. Most people retreat. Most people stay small. Most people never see what they could become. Those who succeed don't feel fearless. They act despite fear. And every act builds unshakable confidence. You have a choice. Comfort erodes confidence in two ways. First, it prevents you from acting. Second, it tricks you into thinking you are already safe. Both ensure that proof never comes. Both ensure that belief in yourself stays weak. You don't need approval. You don't need permission. You don't need perfect conditions. You only need action. That's the key. Real confidence is visible. It's in posture, voice, and presence. But it's built in private, in uncomfortable moments. The early morning you push through fatigue. The task you start when you want to quit. The conversation you have when fear tells you to walk away. Every time you choose discomfort, you reinforce the identity of someone capable, someone confident, someone unstoppable. You have a choice. Here's a practical rule. Pick one action every day that challenges you. Something uncomfortable, something you want to avoid. Do it without negotiation. It can be small. It can be simple. It just has to stretch you beyond comfort. Small discomfort compounded daily produces extraordinary confidence. Not by chance, by design. That's the key. Don't mistake comfort for confidence. Confidence is not the absence of fear. It is the presence of action despite fear. It is knowing who you are because you've proven it repeatedly. It is earned, not given. Comfort weakens it. Discomfort builds it. You have a choice. Let's be clear. Consistency beats motivation every time. You won't feel like acting. You won't feel like showing up. You won't feel like doing the hard thing. Do it anyway. Do it every day. Build proof. Build evidence. Build unshakable confidence. That's the key. Every uncomfortable action teaches you one thing. I am capable. I can endure. I can succeed. I can handle the next challenge. Over time, these small victories accumulate. Fear loses its power. Doubt loses its voice. Comfort loses its control. You have a choice. Here's the truth most people ignore. Confidence does not live in the abstract. It lives in your habits. It lives in your actions. It lives in the person you are becoming when no one is watching. Discomfort is the furnace. Discipline is the hammer. Confidence is the steel. You have a choice. You now know the secret. Do not wait to feel confident. Do not wait to feel ready. Do not wait to feel capable. Act. Act consistently. Act where it is uncomfortable. Proof will come. Identity will follow. Confidence will be built. That's the key. Comfort sedated you. Lack of demand killed ambition. Avoidance hid your potential. Weak habits weakened you. Discipline collapsed. Now you understand the path to confidence. And that path is always uncomfortable. Chapter 7. Feelings are liars. Standards are not. Feelings are unreliable. They change constantly. They lie. That's the first truth you need to accept. You cannot build a life of success, discipline, and ambition based on how you feel. Not today. Not tomorrow. Not ever. Standards, however, are permanent. Standards do not negotiate. Standards do not lie. That's the key. You have a choice. Most people let feelings decide. They wait for motivation. They wait for energy. They wait for inspiration. Then they wonder why progress is slow. Feelings are fleeting. They are emotional weather patterns. They change hour by hour. Standards are the foundation. They are the blueprint. They guide behavior regardless of emotion. You have a choice. Think about your day. Some mornings, you feel motivated. Some mornings, you don't. If you let motivation decide, you will act only some of the time. If you let feelings decide, you will act inconsistently. If you let excuses decide, you will never act at all. That's how feelings become lies. Standards, however, demand action. Non-negotiable action. Repeated action. That's the key. Here's how feelings sabotage you. You wake up tired. You postpone the task. You say, "I'll do it later." Later never comes. You feel scared. You avoid the conversation. You tell yourself, "Not today." Nothing changes. You feel unprepared. You quit before you start. You tell yourself, "I'll wait until I'm ready." You're never ready. Feelings lie. Standards don't. You have a choice. High achievers understand this clearly. They do not wait to feel like acting. They do not wait to feel confident. They do not wait for inspiration or energy. They act because they have standards. Standards define what they do, not how they feel. Standards remove negotiation. That's the key. Let's break it down. Imagine two people with the same goal. One waits for motivation. The other has a standard. I act every day, no excuses. Who do you think achieves more? The motivated person may start strong, but they will fade. The person with standards may feel unmotivated, uncomfortable, and tired, but they will still act. Consistency beats emotion every time. That's the key. Feelings also create dangerous illusions. I don't feel like I can do this. I'm not ready yet. I'll be better tomorrow. Those feelings feel real. They feel urgent. They feel convincing. But feelings are temporary. They do not reflect capability. They do not reflect discipline. Standards reflect reality. Standards reflect commitment. Standards reflect who you are becoming. You have a choice. Here's the hard truth. Success is never about motivation. It is never about inspiration. It is never about how you feel. It is about what you decide to do. Repeatedly. Relentlessly. Without exception. Standards create that. Feelings destroy it. That's the key. Let's make this practical. Identify one area of your life where feelings rule. Maybe work. Maybe health. Maybe relationships. Set a standard. Not a goal. Not a suggestion. A standard. For example, I will read 30 minutes daily, no excuses. I will wake up at 5 a.m., no exceptions. I will exercise every day, even when I don't feel like it. These standards don't ask how you feel. They demand action. That's the key. Every time you follow a standard, you prove something to yourself. I can be trusted. I can follow through. I am stronger than my excuses. Every time you follow feelings, you prove something else. I am fragile. I am inconsistent. I am ruled by comfort. Standards create identity. Feelings destroy it. You have a choice. Here's another truth most people ignore. Feelings feel urgent. Standards feel boring. Motivation feels exciting. Discipline feels repetitive. The brain resists standards because they are uncomfortable. They remove negotiation. They force consistency. They demand proof. But this is where growth lives. This is where confidence grows. This is where ambition survives. That's the key. Let's talk about action. You don't need to feel ready to start. You don't need to feel motivated to continue. You don't need to feel confident to execute. You need standards. You need rules. You need non-negotiables. Standards dictate action. Feelings dictate procrastination. It's that simple. You have a choice. Here's a practical rule for life. Whenever you catch yourself saying, "I don't feel like it," replace it with a standard. I do it anyway. I act anyway. I commit anyway. Repeat daily. Repeat without negotiation. Repeat until it becomes automatic. Consistency beats emotion. Standards beat feelings. That's the key. Understand this clearly. You are not weak for following feelings. You are human. But if you want progress, results, and success, feelings cannot lead. Standards must lead. Standards create reliability. Standards create discipline. Standards create confidence. Feelings lie. Standards never do. You have a choice. You now understand a critical lesson. Motivation will fail. Inspiration will fade. Energy will disappear. But standards will remain. They don't ask. They don't negotiate. They demand. Follow them daily. Follow them consistently. And watch as your life begins to align with the person you are becoming. You've seen how comfort sedated you. You've seen how ambition dies without demand. You've seen why avoidance hides your potential. You've seen how habits weaken you and discipline collapses. You've seen that confidence is forged in discomfort. Now you know the final pillar: standards outlast feelings. Next, we move from understanding standards to practical action. Chapter 8. Daily discomfort is the exit strategy. Discomfort is not the enemy. Comfort is. That's the key. Most people think life should be easy. They think progress should feel good. They think success should be painless. That's a lie. If you want to escape stagnation, if you want to outgrow your old self, you must embrace discomfort daily. Not occasionally. Not sometimes. Daily. You have a choice. Discomfort is the exit strategy. It is the doorway out of comfort. It is the mechanism through which growth becomes inevitable. Every time you choose ease, you delay your transformation. Every time you resist effort, you reinforce weakness. Every time you avoid the hard path, you teach yourself that small, safe, quiet living is acceptable. Daily discomfort fixes that. Daily discomfort forces action. Daily discomfort builds identity. That's the key. Let's break this down. Daily discomfort is not about extremes. It's not about doing the impossible. It's about doing the necessary, even when it hurts. Wake up earlier than you want to. Do the task you've been avoiding. Have the conversation that scares you. Take the action that challenges your pride. One small, uncomfortable step every day. Repeated consistently. Non-negotiable. That's how change occurs. That's how growth happens. That's how you escape comfort. You have a choice. Most people avoid discomfort because it threatens identity. Discomfort asks, who will you become if you do this? Are you ready to be disciplined? Are you ready to prove yourself? And your old self screams, stay safe, stay small, stay familiar. That's why daily discomfort is the exit. It forces your old self to step aside. It forces your future self to take the wheel. That's the key. Discomfort also trains resilience. The moment you do what's uncomfortable, you expand your capacity for challenge. The moment you act despite resistance, you strengthen your tolerance for pressure. The moment you choose effort over ease, you reinforce the belief, I am capable. This is how confidence compounds. This is how discipline solidifies. This is how standards become unshakable. You have a choice. Think about it. Most people wait for conditions to be perfect. They wait for motivation. They wait for energy. They wait for clarity. Meanwhile, life passes them by. Meanwhile, ambition fades. Meanwhile, comfort consolidates power. Discomfort doesn't ask for permission. Discomfort doesn't negotiate. Discomfort doesn't care about mood. Daily discomfort is the exit from mediocrity. It is the lever you pull to create unstoppable momentum. That's the key. Here's a practical rule. Every day, pick one thing that scares you. One thing that makes you uncomfortable. One thing that challenges your pride, patience, or energy. Do it. No excuses. No debate. Small actions matter. Consistency matters more. Repetition matters most. Daily discomfort builds unstoppable momentum. That's the key. Discomfort also clarifies priorities. When you act despite resistance, you learn what matters. When you push through fear, you see your limits. When you choose effort over avoidance, you discover what you're capable of. Comfort clouds judgment. Ease hides failure. Safety delays insight. Discomfort reveals reality. Discomfort exposes weaknesses. Discomfort forces growth. You have a choice. Here's the hard truth. Comfort is addictive. It feels safe. It feels good. It feels deserved. But safety is an illusion. Good feelings are temporary. Deserved ease is a trap. Daily discomfort is the only antidote. It shakes the brain awake. It rewires habits. It transforms identity. That's the key. Daily discomfort also eliminates excuses. I don't have time. I'm too tired. I'll do it later. These excuses hold power only if you allow them. Every time you act despite them, you reclaim authority over your life. Every time you choose discomfort, you prove that excuses are optional. Every time you endure, you reinforce that discipline is mandatory. You have a choice. Consistency is everything. One uncomfortable action in isolation is good. One uncomfortable action repeated is powerful. One uncomfortable action repeated daily is unstoppable. Comfort will resist. Motivation will fluctuate. Energy will vanish. Action does not depend on any of these. Action depends on decision and repetition. That's the key. Discomfort compounds. Early morning workouts make later ones easier. Daily focus blocks make complex projects manageable. Facing small fears daily makes the big ones conquerable. The more you choose discomfort, the less resistance matters. The more you embrace challenge, the less fear controls you. The more you endure, the stronger you become. You have a choice. Here's how to implement it immediately. Pick 3 small discomforts each day. Physical, move your body, even if tired. Mental, tackle the task you've been avoiding. Emotional, have the conversation you've postponed. Do these consistently. Do them without negotiation. Do them daily. Comfort is temporary. Discomfort builds permanence. That's the key. Understand this clearly. Discomfort is not punishment. It is a tool. It is the exit from stagnation. It is the lever that elevates ambition. It is the path to identity transformation. Daily discomfort is not optional. It is mandatory. It is non-negotiable. It is the way forward. You have a choice. Comfort sedated you. Lack of demand killed ambition. Avoidance hid your potential. Weak habits weakened you. Discipline collapsed. Confidence grew only in discomfort. Standards replaced feelings. Now you understand the exit. The exit is daily discomfort. The exit is deliberate resistance. The exit is taking action when it hurts. That's the key. Chapter 10. Make discomfort your daily weapon. Discomfort is no longer something you avoid. Discomfort is something you use. That's the shift. That's the final transformation. That's the key. You have a choice. Up until now, discomfort controlled you. It told you when to stop. It told you when to quit. It told you when to stay small. Today, that changes. Discomfort is not a signal to retreat. It is a signal to advance. When something feels uncomfortable, it means you are at the edge of growth. When something feels hard, it means you are doing something meaningful. When resistance shows up, it means progress is close. That's the key. Weapons are not emotional. They are deliberate. They are trained. They are used with intention. Discomfort becomes a weapon when you stop reacting to it and start deploying it. You don't stumble into discomfort. You choose it. You schedule it. You repeat it. You have a choice. Here is the mindset shift you must lock in. Comfort weakens you. Discomfort sharpens you. Comfort makes life easier today. Discomfort makes life better forever. Once you understand this, you stop asking, how can I avoid this? You start asking, how can I use this? That's the key. Making discomfort your daily weapon means this. You don't wait for motivation. You don't wait for clarity. You don't wait for confidence. You act because it's uncomfortable. You do the thing that scares you. You do the thing you've been postponing. You do the thing your old self avoids. Every single day, you have a choice. Let's get practical. A weapon must be used consistently to stay effective. The same is true for discomfort. You must systemize it. Not randomly. Not emotionally. Deliberately. Every day, ask one question. What would the comfortable version of me avoid today? Then do that exact thing. That's the key. If comfort avoids waking up early, you wake up early. If comfort avoids hard conversations, you initiate them. If comfort avoids focused work, you do deep, uninterrupted work. If comfort avoids accountability, you demand it. This is not punishment. This is training. You have a choice. When discomfort becomes a daily weapon, something powerful happens. Fear loses its authority. Excuses lose credibility. Resistance loses control. Your brain learns a new rule. We act first. Feelings come later. That rewires identity. That's the key. Understand this clearly. Confidence is not built by thinking. It is built by surviving discomfort repeatedly. Every time you do something hard, you collect evidence. Evidence that you are capable. Evidence that you can endure. Evidence that you don't collapse under pressure. That evidence becomes confidence. You have a choice. Discomfort also creates clarity. When you do hard things daily, you stop overthinking. You stop fantasizing. You stop doubting endlessly. Action simplifies life. You don't wonder who you are. Your actions tell you. You don't guess what you're capable of. Your behavior proves it. That's the key. Most people want a breakthrough. They want a moment. They want a dramatic change. That's not how it works. Real transformation comes from boring, daily discomfort. The same early wake-up. The same disciplined routine. The same uncomfortable standards. Day after day, you have a choice. Let's address resistance directly. There will be days you don't want to do it. There will be days you feel tired. There will be days you feel overwhelmed. Those days matter most. Because discomfort on easy days builds habit. Discomfort on hard days builds identity. That's the key. Here's a rule to live by. If it feels uncomfortable and aligns with growth, it becomes mandatory. No negotiation, no debate, no emotional discussion. You don't need permission. You don't need validation. You don't need approval. You have a choice. Discomfort as a weapon also means you stop numbing yourself. No more escaping into distractions. No more hiding behind busyness. No more soothing anxiety instead of confronting it. You face things directly. You do not anesthetize your life. Comfort doesn't attack, it anesthetizes. Discomfort wakes you up. That's the key. Let's talk about standards one last time. Standards turn discomfort into a weapon. A standard says, "This is what I do, regardless of how I feel." When discomfort shows up, standards don't flinch. They execute. You don't rise to motivation. You fall to standards. So raise them. You have a choice. Daily discomfort creates momentum. One hard action leads to another. One disciplined choice strengthens the next. One uncomfortable win compounds into confidence. Soon, the things that once scared you feel normal. Soon, your old comfort zone feels too small. Soon, you crave challenge. That's the transformation. That's the key. Understand this. The goal was never to eliminate discomfort. The goal was to master it. The goal was never comfort. The goal was capability. The goal was never ease. The goal was strength. Discomfort is the forge. You are the weapon being shaped. You have a choice. This book was never about motivation. It was about responsibility. Responsibility for your actions. Responsibility for your habits. Responsibility for who you become. Comfort removes responsibility. Discomfort demands it. That's the line. Here is your final instruction. Every day, deliberately choose discomfort. Every day, do the hard thing first. Every day, act without waiting to feel ready. Every day, let action shape identity. No exceptions. No excuses. No delays. That is how you escape comfort permanently. That's the key. You now understand the truth most people never accept. Comfort is the cage. Discomfort is the key. Discomfort is the weapon. Use it daily, and you will never be controlled by comfort again. You have a choice. Comfort will never tell you it's time to leave. It will let you stay forever. It will let you delay. It will let you settle. It will let you waste years quietly. But now you know the truth. Every time you choose easy, you train weakness. Every time you choose discomfort, you build power. And every day you avoid resistance. You hand control to habits that do not care about your future. So here is the challenge. Starting today, choose one uncomfortable action daily. No negotiation. No emotion. No delay. Do not wait for motivation. Do not wait for confidence. Move first, because comfort has already taken enough from you. It's time to take your life back.